John Sumrall continuing to pick up guys out of the portal. You were mentioning earlier, though, they won't be ranked for this first year.
Well, one of the polls came out. I don't know which one it was on the social media phone, and we were not in the top 25. So I was telling you, he's got a chance to do what I did when I got here in 1990. We weren't in the top 25, and after the first game, we were in it for 12 years. So he's got a chance to do that.
Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, welcome in to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Good show today. We'll have Coach Spurrier on, and Robbie Andrew will be joining us for Yes, No, Where. Maybe on Thursday, Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South, an Indiana grad. He's probably a bundle of nerves right now. Will join us, talk some SEC football, and of course, Coach Spurrier will be back on next Monday. The following Thursday, Kevin O'Sullivan is going to join us, so that'll be a lot of fun to talk to him about the upcoming baseball season, and we'll keep working on guests. We have reached out about Coach Sumrall coming on the show, and we have been told that we are on the list, and we are very high up on the list, and that's all I asked for. But he's got a lot of stuff to do. I understand that. But I'm also really want to hear what he's got to say. So we'll have him on probably, my guess is sometime in February. And that'll be good. That'll be good. By the way, I made my chili this weekend, but I didn't make the $100 chili. I made, because we had all this beef that Karen had cooked for something else and all this chicken that we had cooked. They were separate meals, and then we just put everything into a pile, and then she had all these peppers, and I made a version of my chili. It was about a $30 chili instead of the $100 chili, and it was good. I ate it for lunch on dinner on Friday. We watched the gymnastics, lunch on Saturday, dinner on Saturday. And I think I may have it when I go home today. It is great chili. I know how to make chili. All right. Let us get to our Royal Blue starting five. It is brought to you by our good friend Randy Royal over at Royal Blue Yacht Sales, the only place to buy a boat. We appreciate Randy for being a great advertiser for us. Let's get to number one, which was basketball. If you watch the game, it was kind of great that it was a 2 o'clock game because you could kind of ease into it. You had the Kentucky-Tennessee game before it and kind of ease into it, but you could also then enjoy the rest of the day, but only if they won. And all I could think about, I'm so stupid, is, God, if they lose this game, I don't even know if I want to watch the NFL games and all the other basketball. I just want to watch sitcoms or something. I don't want to. They won, so it was a lot of fun to watch it. A lot of screaming in our house, I can tell you, during that game. I don't know that I've seen a 7-point possession before. That I may have, but that was pretty impressive. They got a hook and hold, and of course, Chinyelu gets up there and knocks down 4 free throws, and it wasn't like they rattled around. They were nothing but the bottom of the net. And then they inbound quick Thomas Hout, 3-pointer, boom. They go from being down, I think, 5 to up 2. That just changed the whole game. That was a huge play in that game. And, of course, the Xavier Lee shot at the end was huge. And the great thing was, Florida did not play great defense, but Vanderbilt was this is a very, very good Vanderbilt team. They're going to be in the tournament. They're going to be highly rated. And they may be the favorites to win the SEC tournament because it's in Bridgestone again. But they made a lot of those fall-away 1-foot jumpers that you like to see a guy shoot, and they kept going in. You're going, that would be the reaction every time. I go, I wanted him to take that shot, but they made a lot of tough shots. But Florida, at the end of the game, the last 3 possessions was incredible on defense. They played great. They forced a turnover. They forced a bad shot that didn't even hit the rim. And they just did a lot of good things there at the end. And obviously that was a huge win for Florida to go up there and win their a team that was ranked 10th in the country. I think that it's Todd Golden's past Mike White now for top 25 wins. He passed him by one. He will not catch Billy soon. Billy's at 64. We talked about that a week ago. Anyway, now everybody loves Florida. And everybody's like, hey, Florida, they're back in the national title picture. Everybody wanted to dismiss them before. I didn't. It was tough to lose those 5 games. The TCU game's the only one where the team was not as good as Florida, and they kind of messed that one up. But the other 4 teams are really good. You got UConn, you got Arizona. I'm trying to think of Duke, and I'm trying to remember who the other one was. But it was a good team. They've lost to some really tough teams, and not at home. So, but now everybody's in love with them. Everybody thinks, oh, the Gators are back. They're legit. Todd Golden should be coach of the year. Okay, we're 5 games into the SEC schedule. That's great. I'm so happy. They're 4-1. They're tied with Texas A&M. They're the only teams that are 4-1. I cannot be happier with what they've done in the conference schedule. And I kept telling people, and Todd Golden kept telling people, we're almost there. We just got to find that edge. We got to find that clutch gene. He didn't say that. Those are my words, but I knew that. And I think it's what he was implying. And they found it. Can you keep it going? Is Xavier Lee going to be Xavier Lee at Oklahoma or Xavier Lee at Vanderbilt? Maybe the change in numbers will make a difference because they forgot his uniform. 99. He had 99 problems. He wasn't one. But the bottom line is the game before at Oklahoma, he went 0 for 6. They benched him because he was so bad. This game, and I agree with what Todd Golden's done. You can always sit a guy down. Whether he starts or not, to me, has always been irrelevant. But you can always sit a guy down and bring somebody else in if he's not playing well. That's kind of the way they've approached it. If he's playing well, and he's doing all the other things. I think he had 6 rebounds in this game and several assists. I mean, he's playing good defense. But anyway, and certainly I want to shout out to Alex Condon, who teams are focusing on him a lot. They're basically saying Florida can't shoot unless you get Houck in the corner or shots like that. But they're not a good shooting team. And Condon will take some threes, so leave him wide open because he won't make. He had 2 air balls in this game, but he did make the first one, which was bad. I was like, don't shoot anymore. That's it. 1 for 1 is perfect. Stay right there. But he was getting drilled by the crowd, and that's what you would do when a guy throws up a couple of air balls. And then to step up and make those 2 free throws, and they were nothing but net too. Huge. And I mean, I give him a lot of credit for making those shots. So Florida right now is number 15 in the net rankings. I pay attention to them. I'm not saying you have to, but I do pay attention to them where you are. They are also have 5 quad 1 wins. That was obviously a quad 1. You don't have to look up where they are. But Vanderbilt, because you knew that was going to be a quad 1 win if you could win it there. And now they come home and play LSU. LSU got their first conference win. This is an LSU team that starts fast and struggles, but they pulled out their win last week. But they were up 10-0 in that game. The week before, or that Tuesday before, they were up 18-3 on Kentucky to start the game, and then ended up losing the game on that crazy play. But the bottom line is they're good enough to do that. They're good enough to play you and play tough. The game is both those games, by the way, though, were on the road or at home, and now they have to go on the road, play Florida. I'm sure the crowd is going to be jacked. 7:00 game. Gators coming off of 4 straight wins in the SEC, 3 of them against ranked teams. You should be happy. Now, what I also would do if I was Todd Golden, not that I need to teach him anything, is I would put 0-0 up on the board and go, that's your record right now, and that's the way you need to play. You need to play this game like you haven't done anything. And I think he will. I think he'll get these guys focused because just because you won this game and you won those 2 home games easily against ranked teams doesn't mean you've done anything yet. You've got to go play. He knows that. I know that. I think the players know that. They're pretty smart guys. All right. Let us move along to number 2 on our Royal Blue starting 5, which was the SEC this weekend. It was so much fun to watch all those games. Almost all of them came down to the last 2 minutes of the game. If you watch the Kentucky-Tennessee game, that was incredible. Tennessee leading the whole way, comfortable lead, blah, blah. Gets a little tight. And all you could think about was what Kentucky did to LSU. And Kentucky comes back, wins the game. That was interesting. Certainly Georgia winning was interesting. There were a lot of games that were fun to watch, a lot of them very close. I think the only game that was a blowout was Arkansas. Was that Georgia-Arkansas? I think it was. So Georgia was a close game, and then they blew it out at the end. But Mississippi State there were just a lot of fun games. This league is still really good. It's not like it was last year. And the reason it's not like it was last year is they had some studs. One-and-done studs last year. I'm not sure how many they have this year, but they had some one-and-done guys, and that they kind of lifted people. Boogie Flant was supposed to be one of those one-and-done guys, but he got hurt, obviously. So we'll see how it goes when it comes tournament time, but that league is still fine. They're fine. Everybody's like, that could get 14 in. Well, nobody gets 14 in except the SEC did last year, but they're going to get 10. And if they only get 9 in, if they only get 8 in, they're going to be good teams. The league is still very difficult, and it's a battle when you go on the road. But it was a lot of fun. All right, let's get to our number 3 on our Royal Blue starting 5, which is the only way to put this, and I think somebody put it in a column. Maybe it was Ross Dellinger. We've been trying to get him on, but he's been so busy covering all the stuff that's going on. We'll get him on after the season's over. But I think it was him that said this. Mommy and Daddy are fighting again. And that is exactly what it is. The Big Ten and the SEC are getting further away from what we thought. Remember 11 months ago when they were, hey, we're going to work through this. We're going to form a committee. We're going to work through this. We're going to get college football back where it needs to get. Now they can't agree on anything. They're screaming at each other, yelling at each other, and it looks like we're going to have another 12-team playoff next year. There's a deadline of Friday, I believe. ESPN has told them by Friday we need to know because we can't go. We want to go sell it. We need a full year to sell it, but we need to sell it to all of our advertisers, and we need them to know how many games are going to be played. If it's 16, which we prefer because there's more games we can sell, great. We can't make you do that, but we think that'd be a great idea. Anyway, there's a lot going on there behind closed doors, and it's just amazing. The SEC wants to go to 16 from the 12. The Big 12 or Big 10 is saying, yeah, that's fine, but for 2 years, and then we want to go to 24. I don't know. I guess the Big 10 is 10 is a big believer in inclusion. They want more teams from their conference to have a chance to play in these games. 24 seems like a lot to me. I'm not sure there should even be a top 25 on the polls. I think 20 was fine when they had a top 20. But, 16 may be fun, playing game. Who knows where we're going to go. I think we're going to end up with the same format we had this year, which I'm in favor of more games only because I want to watch more games. You can always turn them off if they're not good. But anyway, we'll see how it all works out. But right now, it doesn't seem to be working out very well. All right. Let us move along in our Royal Blue starting 5 to our NFL coverage, which I watched every minute of every game all weekend. The King had my attention. We had the C.J. Stroud turning it over every time he got the ball game. We had obviously what happened with the Bills was just, I was rooting for the Bills, and I hated to see that happen. And we have big stories, one of them being Bo Nix out obviously he's having surgery tomorrow for a broken ankle that he couldn't even stand on when he was doing the post-game interview. That was the next to last play. He ran that little sweep around the side, and I planned it wrong, and it broke. His foot broke, or his ankle broke. So you had that going on. The only game that wasn't good was Seattle and San Francisco, and that was good for a half, and then it just got away from them. San Francisco just ran out of players. Eddie Pinheiro made a 56-yard field goal. That was a highlight for me. And then today, the big story, Sean McDermott gets fired, the Bills coach. And again, he's got the best player on the planet. That's what everybody says. And I don't disagree, although he does tend to turn the ball over sometimes. But they haven't gotten to a Super Bowl with him. And I think they're saying we just need to move on, try something else. I don't know that who you're going to get. You got Joe Brady as your offensive coordinator, right? Is he going to be the head coach? Maybe? I don't know. But that was interesting. So New England at Denver, Rams at Seattle. Those are your championship games. I don't know how excited people are about New England at Denver, only because Jared Stidham is going to be the quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Now, look, there are times when a backup quarterback who's got plenty of experience in the league, played in the league a long time, played for the Patriots, of course, was drafted by the Patriots. Maybe he comes out, lights it up, and we're all talking about him next Monday. But New England's favored at Denver. That should tell you what they think of Stidham. And then, of course, the Rams, Seattle. I've got to figure out who I'm rooting for there. Like I said before, I've talked about this before. I used to be a Rams fan. They moved to St. Louis. I dropped them. Became a Seattle fan. Kind of dropped them when they fired Pete Carroll and got rid of Russell Wilson. That was I don't have an NFL team. That's the bottom line. So with Rams Seattle, I'm trying to figure out who to root for. I'll figure it out. And it's very important because whoever I root for probably will lose. All right, let's move along to our Steve and Christine Wendig present the Olympic Gator of the Weekend. It is brought to you by Steve and Christine Wendig from Boss Art Realty. They are believers in all these sports, especially women's sports, and we've got plenty to choose from now because the women's sports are cranking up. Our winner here today of our Steve and Christine Wendig present the Gator Olympic Athlete of the Weekend is Selena Harris Miranda. Probably won't be her last time. She is a great gymnast at Florida, had a 9.95 on the beam. Boy, they needed that. They still barely pulled it out because the last floor exercise stepped out of bounds. I'm blanking on who it was, but stepped out of bounds, cost her a deduction, but Florida still won. And that was a good win, but they weren't perfect. Nobody ever is perfect. And we'll see how it all goes going forward. They've got Auburn, I believe, on the road this weekend. Auburn's pretty good. Anyway, it was a lot of fun to watch. Karen and I watched the whole thing. So Selena Harris Miranda, you are the winner of our Steve and Christine Wendig present our Olympic Athlete of the Weekend. All right. That's going to do it for our Royal Blue starting five. We appreciate Randy Royal over at Royal Blue, and we will take a break. When we come back, the HBC will join us. We'll talk about his surgery. Now, we'll talk about how he's doing and a lot about a lot of sports because we got a lot to choose from. We'll do all that and more here on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studio. At Royal Blue, we believe our resumes as yacht brokers consist of not only the type of boats we list, but also the condition of those boats as well. If you see a boat listed as a sale with Royal Blue Yacht Sales, you can have faith that it will be very well kept and in extremely good condition. Passionate about delivering exceptional boating experiences in Florida, Royal Blue excels in tailoring boat buying for selling solutions to fit your needs. With 15 years in prior boat sales experience and over $65 million in sales, Royal Blue is devoted to making your boat ownership a dream reality. Call us today to schedule a consultation to see what Royal Blue can do to solve all of your boating needs. Call Randy at 850-974-1294.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
All right, it may be a new year, but it doesn't mean you have to back off any of your goals as far as losing weight. I know I've been working even harder on it, and of course I get an assist from BMI TeleMed. They help us out with our New Year's resolutions, even if I've already broken 2 of them. Not the food ones, though. Weight loss is your goal. Get with BMI TeleMed. They use GLP-1 medications, and they are individualized, and that's the great thing. I've been through this, and Charlie, just talking to him, it was so great to make him understand, and he understood what I was doing. It's not about just losing weight. It is about keeping it off. You know that. We're all excited about the new year, and we're going to lose weight, but when you lose it in the first month, then you got to keep going. BMI TeleMed is sensible. It's straightforward. It's affordable. No contracts or hidden costs. BMI TeleMed is donating $1 for every pound you lose to the Florida Victorious Foundation. So go Gators. Join the listeners on this podcast who've already lost over 600 pounds. Are you kidding me? I'm 60 of them right there. All right, contact BMI TeleMed today at 727-383-1677. Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And of course, it's a Meldon Monday, and Coach Spurrier is back, and they sponsor his appearances here. And you're back, and your back is...
My back is a little better.
A little better.
Yeah, I tell you what, I went up to Duke University during the season, and they had me present an award at the Bassett Society. He's the orthopedic doctor there. So I met a whole bunch of doctors, and I gave out 2 scholarships to students, $10,000 each, a male and female student. But anyway, so one of the doctors said, "Coach, come up here and let us check out your back and see if we can help you." I said, "Okay, I've tried everything else."
Yeah.
And what I have, just to let the fans know, I have osteoarthritis in my spine. My doctor about 10, 11 years ago, he checked me out, actually a doctor in Charleston, and he said, "Coach, I got good news and bad news for you, okay?" Okay, first of all, bad news. You've got arthritis in your spine, so it clogs up your discs down in there and so forth. And he said, "That's the bad news. The good news is your heart and lungs look really good." I said, 2 out of 3, I'll take those 2.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I got osteoarthritis, and they did one little procedure I haven't had before, but I think I can do it here also. They go in your sacroiliac and put a little medicine, Novocaine, in there, and it sort of solidifies your back a little bit. And you can do that. It wears off after about 4 or 5 months. But I talked to Dr. Farmer the other day, and there's a guy here that does that. So, I mean, sometimes you just got to accept the fact that you got a bad back, and you got to live with it.
I got the same problem, Coach.
Yeah.
And I didn't even get hit by the Tampa Bay Bucks offensive line, to protect me.
But if they could heal everything, nobody would be in a wheelchair, and everybody would be flying around, and this, that, and the other. So, yeah, I feel blessed to be in very good health as I am right now.
And you felt a need to kind of reach out to people on Facebook and everything, and just let them know, I'm fine. All this clickbait crap.
Yeah, that artificial stuff. And I can see how it sort of happened, because the first doctor I went to, he is a cancer doctor at Duke. I walked in the building at Cancer Institute, and I said, "Well, no wonder people think I got cancer. I'm seeing a doctor there." But all he did was look at my foot. I've got a little bit of a drop foot on my left foot there, so he checked that out and so forth. And then I went to a couple other specialists and so forth, and they decided to get that little sacroiliac shot, and that was it.
I got to look into that. But that's certainly good. Duke's great school, as is Florida. And Dr. Farmer, we appreciate him too. He's given me a shot before, so I know how it goes.
Yeah,
all right, let's go ahead and talk about. Let's start with the game tonight. Indiana and Miami. Indiana, I saw the spread dropped a point, so it's down to 7.5. Indiana's favored. I know Kurt Signetti does not like that they're favored by that much in a national championship game.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
But they are.
But they're blowing everybody out.
And at their home field of Miami's home field. Oh, they have played so well through the playoffs. It's hard not to pick them. But man, can you always have such great games they've had?
I know.
Played near perfect. I think Mendoza's hitting about 80% of his passes.
90.
Is
It's
it
actually
90?
91 right now.
God. Oh, 91.
He's had more
Yeah.
touchdown passes than he's had interceptions in the
Incompletions.
playoffs.
Yeah.
Or incompletions.
Incompletions. Yeah, I read that also. So it should be a heck of a game. It should be one heck of a game. I don't know who I'm pulling for. I guess got to pull for Indiana. Hard to pull for Miami if you're a Gator, right?
I have no doubt who I'm rooting for. I have no real interest in Indiana, but I'm definitely rooting for them over Miami. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to watch that game. And I know you watched all the NFL games yesterday too.
Yeah, watched a bunch of those, and good games. Could have gone either way. It's really interesting how so many of them end up in overtime and so forth. And just a play or two here or there determines the winner.
It is amazing.
It's amazing.
And today Sean McDermott gets fired. Which, a little surprising to me, but it didn't seem surprising to the NFL guys that cover it on a regular basis because he's got the best player in the world, and they've never been to a Super Bowl. And
he's been there nine years, I think he said.
But that's the thing. Then, there have been 10 coaches fired this year, if you count Tomlin. There's 10 openings. That's the way the NFL is, though. You don't win, they get rid of you, and they give you some time at some places. But even then, you've got to get to the Super Bowl.
Well, then you can also bounce back. Like Harbaugh's already got a new gig there with the New York Giants. So maybe McDermott will get another gig. And then the Cleveland coach
Stefanski got hired in Atlanta, yeah.
So,
which I'm not.
Sometimes it may be good
to
get let go, to get another job if you can. So anyway, it's an interesting profession, no question about it.
Did you ever think about going back to the NFL after the Redskins?
No. I was finished after 10 years at South Carolina.
No, but I mean, after the Redskins and you parted ways,
really.
or were you just done? Would you just have a bad taste in your mouth from?
Yeah, I wasn't. It wasn't my cup of tea. But I didn't. But I like to tell people. They said, "Well, Spurrier was pretty good in college, but he was crap in pros." The Tampa Bay Bandits, we were 35-20, and the Orlando Apollos, we were 7-1 and won the conference championship there. So it wasn't pro ball. It was that situation. I was no good, okay, and whatever you can determine from that. But the other two pro teams, we had winners, and I thoroughly enjoyed coaching those teams. Yeah.
I enjoyed being up there and spending some time with you right before you coached that first year. We had a great time up there, all right, so I don't know how much of the basketball you watched on Saturday because you were busy with a lot of things, but that was a heck of a game, wasn't it?
That was a heck of a game. That really was a heck of a game. Our team's getting better. Yeah, we're getting better as the season progresses, and that's what every coach hopes his team does. And it's obvious we've gotten better because we weren't even ranked there for a while, about a week or two ago?
Oh, yeah.
And now we're slowly moving right on up the ladder. What are we ranked now?
18 or 19. They may be higher when the poll comes out today, Because that was a big win. I mean, Vanderbilt was undefeated before that loss to Texas, and they were playing at home, and the crowd was electric. And I saw where Sean Kelly's seats were. I've been there for a basketball game and covered it. Sean Kelly's seats, you couldn't even see the floor.
You're under the floor, aren't you? Yeah. That's Vandy.
Or you're way up in like a crow's nest, and you're not even sure the angle you're watching. I wish they would just knock it down and build a new one, but it's Vanderbilt, so what are you going to do? But that was a good win for Florida, and Todd Golden getting it done. So far, as we go along here, John Sumrall continuing to pick up guys out of the portal. You were mentioning earlier, though, they won't be ranked for this first year.
Well, one of the polls came out, I don't know which one it was, on the social media phone, and we were not in the top 25. So I was telling you, he's got a chance to do what I did when I got here in 1990. We weren't in the top 25, and after the first game, we were in it for 12 years. So he's got a chance to do that. Got to win big that opening game. But I give Coach Summerall credit now. The five of our best players, Jaden Baugh, Vernell Brown, Dallas Wilson, Jalen Woods, and Miles Graham, they've all stuck. And they all said after listening to Coach Summerall talk, you can see his enthusiasm, and you can see we got a chance to be winners because of him. And so give Coach Summerall a lot of credit. This guy, he might be a little bit like Kirk Signetti. I mean, he is serious, and guys are going to play hard. They're going to play with effort. We're not going to have 13 on the field, all that kind of stuff. So,
well, hopefully.
Yeah, give Coach Summerall credit for what he's building right now as we start out. Of course, trying to sign some transfer guys and all that, and go from there.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of them coming in, and it's going to be a whole new roster in a lot of ways. But you see this, like North Texas coach went to Oklahoma State. He's got 46 guys have left and 42 they've signed. And I'm like, what are we doing here? But it is what it is. It's the rules.
Yeah. Nobody seems to care about it.
And there's no enforcement when you break the rules. So, I mean, it's just what it is. I don't know what – like that Darian Mensah thing, the quarterback from Duke, who now is going to go to Miami likely, and his sister is getting a full scholarship for soccer. Yes. She's getting a full scholarship and a NIL deal. In addition to him getting they're going to have to pay $4 to $5 million to get out of the contract, and then $4 to $5 million to keep him. And it's just, I don't. It's almost like they're going to push me away from college football.
Yeah. Well, I was up at Duke last weekend, and I think I heard where he had a $2 million buyout. So Miami said, no problem. Here's $2 million, Duke. Go buy you some players. We're going to pay his buyout. Pay his buyout. That's what I heard. I don't know the facts, but that was what was heard. But anyway, Gator Gymnastics.
Yes,
number one
I
in the
watched
nation.
That. Yeah.
Coach Jenny Rowland's ladies performed well the other night against Alabama. Did you watch some of that?
I watched the whole thing.
I'm watching it on TV. We were up there at Duke, and we watching and it's over. And our ladies are over there, and there's nobody's. No. I said, who won?
Nobody knows.
They didn't know. They didn't know till the final score came out.
Yeah.
And
I thought they had
that's
blown it because the girl stepped out of bounds. Yeah.
Yeah. That's got to be the only sport in the world.
Well,
the game's over. Well, who won? And well, they're going to see those judges over there. That's their sport, though.
Eventually, we'll know. Yeah,
that's how they do it.
It is a weird sport because it's so subjective. I mean, because you may see something, the next person may not see it. So you have scores that sometimes are a point apart, but
it was so close.
It was.
Right at the end, I think one of our gymnasts fell off the balance beam, and we thought, oh, maybe that's it. But then one of their gymnasts fell off or did something, and we snuck by and won it. But that is interesting. That is really the only sport. Yeah, I know, maybe figure skating, ice skating or something, where the judges tell you who wins.
I think it was last year where it was the SEC meet, and they all huddled around. They had no idea whether they won or not because you had to wait for the score. And it came out, and they all started celebrating. I'm like, okay, great.
That's how they do gymnastics.
It is different, but they got a good team, very good team. That's why they're number one. Yeah. But that was a big-time meet. A lot of people there, 1 versus 4, and that was certainly a big win for Florida. We also had tennis has started playing now. Softball's not right around the corner. Baseball's right around the corner. This is my favorite time of the year. I love football more than anything. I will say that. But this time of year when you've got all these sports going and you've got all these things to choose from what you go to watch, that's what living in Gainesville's all about.
Yep, we're centered around the University of Florida and really all the sports, no question about it. So, all right.
Are you going to hit the game Tuesday? Tuesday night?
Now, is that?
You got LSU Tuesday and then Auburn.
LSU men game.
Yeah.
The men.
And then Auburn on Saturday.
And our Lady Gator basketball team's doing.
They won a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing decent.
The thing about them is amazing is they tend to peter out in the fourth quarter, and they lose a lot of games in the fourth quarter, and you get sucked in, and then they lose the game. But this game, they got such a big lead in the first quarter, they didn't have to worry about it the rest of the way. I think they won the first quarter 26-8 or something like that.
I was at our game with Tennessee
Yeah.
a week or so ago, and Todd Golden, got one of those floor seats. He walked by. I said, "Coach, you guys are really playing some defense." He said, "Yeah, we need to shoot better though, also."
Yeah.
But God, did we play some defense that day? I mean, they let them push and shove.
Oh, yeah.
They let them play in college ball, and I mean, they're leaning on each other, and it's a physical game, really is.
It is, and I was thinking about this too with the NFL. I mean, that drives me crazy. Is both guys put their hands around each other as they run down the field, and it's not interference. And then if he put his arm out or something, so now it is interference. I can never tell. I can't tell what a catch is. I have no idea what a catch is. Because you catch a ball, come to the ground, and the guy rips it away from you. It's an interception, which happened in the Bills game. Yeah.
Yeah, when they hit the ground, I thought the receiver had it, but when he rolled over, the other guy had it.
Yeah.
And I said, "Gosh, I don't know if I've ever seen that. I don't know whose ball it is, but
I saw once.
they gave it to an interception.
Yeah.
Didn't
They gave it to an
an
interception. Yeah.
But yeah, it is. And I don't know why they play so much bump and run when you got a 7 or 8 point lead. It seems like they'd fake bump and run because just keep throwing those fade routes. In hindsight, we should have thrown more fade routes every time they bump and run. You'd get interference half the time.
Right.
Seems
right.
like, but the NFL, that's what they all play, bump and run.
Yeah, it's wild. We do need to get to our Campus USA play of the weekend. Campus USA, we appreciate them so much. And this is the play. Xavier Lee making that three-pointer, a step-back three. And when he did it, of course, we're all going, no, don't.
Oh, man, that was
And
nice.
then, boom, nothing but net. That was a good – and that put Florida ahead. And, of course, they ended up winning the game. And wearing number 99 because they forgot his jersey. So that was pretty cool.
Is that what happened?
Yeah. They
wondering.
forgot jerseys, and Boogie
Yeah.
Fland and him both had different jerseys. But wait, that's not the play of the weekend. The play of the weekend's this play, but I couldn't make it the play of the weekend because they lost the game. But Caleb Williams running all around and just throwing the ball up, and you're like, holy cow.
How'd that
This
happen?
game is going to be tied. I literally was screaming in my house because I was rooting for the Bears, to be honest with you. But I didn't really have any giant interest in it. But
When he caught it, I first said, well, how in the world to get that open? And then we realized the guy was hanging with him short, and he just sort of leaned on him. I don't think he pushed him with his hands.
a little bit. There was a little separation.
I don't
but
think it.
That's not a penalty in the
was not
NFL.
it was not offensive.
Anyway, that was definitely the play of the weekend.
Yeah, that was the play.
But the play of the weekend in Gainesville was Xavier Lee hitting that three because we loved that they were able to beat Vanderbilt. That was a big win for
Big
Florida.
win for us. Yeah.
And certainly has been a lot of fun. Big win in gymnastics, big win in basketball. This was Wintersville
weekend.
again this weekend. Good weekend.
Very good weekend.
And Coach, you got anything else?
No, I don't think we got too much. Of course, national
Oh, I know what we
championship.
want to talk about.
There's a little game on TV tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think most Gators will be pulling for Indiana.
Oh, yes.
But who knows what's going to happen. If Indiana plays like they've
If they-
been playing,
exactly.
nobody's going to beat them.
All these delays, it just feels like I don't even know. Sometimes you forget there's even a game going on.
College game.
I did want to mention too that you've announced your first year coach of the year for your award that you give out.
It has been announced.
It
Okay.
has been announced, yeah.
Coach Dan Mullen
Yep.
is
Had a
our
great year.
recipient. Yeah.
Won
I think
10 games first
9
year.
or 10. He had 10 games out there at Las Vegas, and he and his wife are coming in.
Good. It'd be great to see Megan and
Megan,
Dan.
yeah, Megan. So they'll be here February 23, I think it is.
Yeah, and I think you got some other awards that
I
are being
think we're
announced.
trying to get Coach Fulmer in.
Yes.
I think he's the legend coach.
Right.
And we're trying to get Kirby Smart. I think one of his freshmen is getting the Freshman of the Year award. So hopefully Kirby will come down here and see our restaurant.
Next thing you know, there'll be one in Athens.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we dislike the Bulldogs the way we used to, do we?
No, I don't
I
know.
don't think so. I don't anyway.
Yeah, I think you got to be competitive with them to
Yeah, to dislike them.
Yeah. You got to beat them every once in a while.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not a
true.
rivalry
Yeah.
if they keep beating you every year, but
Yeah, we need some incidents like Urban when they rushed the field after that touchdown,
right.
and then he what he called timeout to trying to run another play to score or something. I don't know.
Twice. He called 2 timeouts at the
Two
end of the game.
timeouts just to rub it in. a little
Here's
bit.
his answer.
Well, see, we need more of those things to happen
Exactly.
to build the rivalry.
Exactly. By the way, I wanted to mention this. Ricky Nattiel is here signing autographs, I think, for Palm Beach Autographs. And I was thinking, what would, in their prime, when they were at their fastest, you line up Ricky and Kwesi Green next to each other and had a race. How good would that be? I don't know who would win because Ricky can fly, man, and that's why he played in the NFL for so long.
Yeah, certainly.
But Kwesi was he the fastest player? Oh well, John Capel was probably the fastest.
Yeah,
player.
Capel was a track guy also,
Yeah.
so in a regular sprint, he was probably the leader in that. But Riedel Anthony was awfully fast too.
Oh, he
Ike,
was. Yeah.
Ike was plenty fast enough.
Yeah.
Those were excellent group of receivers we had all those years.
It was fun, and maybe
Yeah.
they'll be
And then you get
like that again this year.
And then you get Rashay Caldwell, Jabbar Gaffney, and Tallahassee Taylor Jacobs.
Taylor Jacobs, yeah.
all three of those guys out there,
Yep.
so they could all play.
Absolutely. All right, Coach, we'll let you go. We'll be back with more. Robbie Andrew will join us for Yes, No, Where, Maybe here on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great.
On April 7th, 2025, Gator Nation reached the mountaintop as Florida won the national championship in basketball. Now, relive every thrilling moment with Franz Beard's new book, The Golden Season, the unforgettable story behind Florida's historic 2025 title run. Feel the passion, the drama, and the glory all over again. Available now at Spurriers.com. Click the shop tab. That's Spurriers.com.
Okay, welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast presented by our good friends at Titan MRI and Imaging and brought to you also by our good friends at Meldon Law. We're in the Gator Studios that they sponsor, and we appreciate them. Of course, they appreciate them sponsoring Coach Spurrier. And now we bring on the great Robert A. Andrew. Robbie, did you enjoy your weekend?
Yeah, Patrick, how about you?
It was good. A little cold today. I had to get the scraper out. Because
I did too.
My car was totally frosted over.
Yeah, the grass frosts all over the place this morning. So
I thought I was in Chicago.
yeah, man, it was pretty cold up there too.
It was cold to watch it, let alone play in it. I cannot imagine how many guys. Like if you're who's the guy for the Rams that was out. Anyway, there was a player that was out, and they were showing him on the sideline. I'm like, he's probably going, why did I have to come? Why couldn't I have stayed home?
Yeah,
you know? It was really cold. All right.
You got pretty brutal at the New England game too.
It was, yeah. I think that's going to be the excuse C.J. Stroud uses, I think.
Man,
it was too cold.
He was awful, Pat. He could have had at least 2 or 3 more picks. It was unbelievable.
I don't know that I've ever seen a guy get beat up like that on the social media.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
brutal.
Everybody just saying, cut him now. Now cut him. I mean, these are respected journalists. You got to get rid of him. You can't. He's living off his rookie year when he had a good year. And I got to be honest with you, and I'm going to say this out loud. C.J. Stroud, when he came out of Ohio State, I'm like, really? You're going to draft him that high? And then he has that great rookie year, and I'm like, I was wrong. I was wrong about him. But in the end, maybe I was right.
Yeah, I was kind of the same boat with you, Pat. I'd question, him going that high. And then to have the year he had, that was like, man, this kid is way advanced and he's going to be unbelievable. But now, he's taking a step back, a big one.
Yeah. Speaking of step backs, I'm sure you enjoyed that Xavier Lee step back 3-pointer.
That was one of those where you go, no, yes.
That's right, exactly.
It was huge, Pat. And I think stepping back, if you look at his misses, they're kind of like line drives. That one had a nice arc on it, which gave it a chance to go in, and it was a perfect shot. It was great.
I was happy for him. I mean, I'm sure he is aware of how people are wasted money. Why do you bring this guy in? He can't play. But when you watch him play, everything else he does is pretty good. And I think in this game he had 5 or 6 rebounds. And, I mean, he that's one reason Florida leads the nation in rebounding is because their guards rebound. Fland rebounds.
Yeah,
and Xavier.
Yeah, he's a good ball handler, good defender, and he's really fast, Pat. I mean, he can go get down the court in a hurry. So,
yeah, it was a great game. It was, I don't know, it was a little too intense for me in the fifth game of SEC play. That was a little too intense for me.
Yeah, that was a big win, man. The Gator boys are hot again.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, Robbie, it's time for us to play Yes, No, Where, or Maybe. Robbie, come to us on our Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line. Of course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, the place to go for street dining and for great. Even today would be a perfect day because it'll be nice around noon. You can go over there and have a great sausage dog or anything else they have. And they have so much different good food. Big Mills Cheesesteak, the place to go. And you get free fries with your order if you mention that you listen to this podcast. So that's a good deal right there. All right, Robbie, yes, no, where, maybe. Number one, as a Vikings fan, you were happy to see the Bears lose.
I would say yes, Pat, but not mainly because I'm a Vikings fan, but because remember last week we talked about negative rooting, who you're going to negative root against?
Yeah.
Well, now it's like everybody but the Rams. I've adopted your old team. I'm all in on the Rams right now. So I went into that game all in on the Rams. So that's why I was negative rooting against Chicago. I wanted the Rams, and it was great they pulled it out. Now they're the only team I'm not negative rooting against.
The Rams are the team I picked to win the whole thing on this ESPN bracket thing. Of course, I got every other game wrong, but I've got them going all the way and winning the Super Bowl. So
Pat, during the middle of the season, it looked like they were definitely the best team in the NFL, and then they kind of went back a little bit, but now they're kind of getting it back together, and to survive that game the way they did, that's only going to help moving forward, I think.
I don't know how you
could have lost that game.
Yeah, how you come back from that play that tied it. I thought about whether Ben Johnson should go for 2 there at the end, and I was like, nah, you need to get this game to overtime. You've got all the momentum going. Yeah. You're at home. If you're on the road, you definitely go for 2 at that point.
Pat, when they did score, I thought he's going to go for 2, and that worried me because that would have been the game basically. And I'm glad he kicked the extra point. But you're right, the crowd was just going crazy at that point. It was an unbelievable play, and the crowd went nuts, and they had all the momentum. But the Rams, to their credit, turned it back around, won the game.
As good as Caleb Williams was, 3 picks. So
man, he's come a long way, hasn't he, Pat?
Yeah, and I hated him in college. Mainly because he played for USC, and then the fingernails and everything, writing. It was an F word in there. I can't remember what it was, but so I wasn't a Caleb Williams fan in college, but I kind of, I like him in the pros. So
yeah, I mean, he really come on, and he makes a lot of plays with his legs too. I mean, he's dangerous when he gets out there and starts running around.
It is a week-to-week or month-to-month or certainly year-to-year thing with me about who I like in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Pat.
I went Rams, then I went Seahawks. I was all in on the Seahawks. I even bought a Seahawks shirt because I thought that was a very college atmosphere. And then I went to the Chiefs because I like Mahomes, and that was fun. And then they got bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know who I'm rooting for now.
But I'm definitely negative rooting against the Seahawks, the Broncos, and of course New England.
Definitely
I
the
hate New
Broncos.
England.
There is no
Yeah.
doubt. I'm definitely all in on the Patriots for that game. Even though the Patriots
Yeah.
have won plenty of championships, I don't like Sean Payton. I'm rooting for Patriots to win that game.
Yeah, I will too in that game.
All right, number 2 on Yes, Nowhere, maybe with Robbie Andrew. Robbie, Indiana covers the spread, which has dropped a full point down to 7.5 tonight. Do they cover the spread?
I'm
I'm
going
not
to
asking you to pick the game. I just want to know if
Yeah.
you think they'll cover.
I'm only going to go with a maybe on that, Pat. I mean, Miami's playing really well right now the last half of the year. They're really good on both lines of scrimmage. And then, they're playing at home. And I know the crowd is going to probably be more for Indiana, but they're on their home turf. And, I think that's going to make a big difference. I think Miami is going to, be leading at some point in the second half. And I don't think Indiana's going to cover.
I hope they win is all I care about, to be honest with
Well,
you.
yeah, exactly.
Let me ask you this question. Of the two fan bases, which one is going to be more dejected if they lose? Because Miami playing at home, this has been hey, look, I give them credit. This has been a great ride for them. They've won 3 really tough games. But Indiana, they feel like this is their chance, to do something for the first time.
Yeah, I think Indiana fans would be more dejected because I think everybody has them winning this game. It's like a given that they're the better team, and it could be a blowout. And I think they're all going down there for a big celebration. If they don't get that, it's going to be a huge disappointment for the fan base. But then they'll look back later and say, "What a great run!" And we're going to be here for a while now. So.
Yeah, I don't think Signetti's happy with that spread. He thinks it should be like 1 point or something like that. So. But we'll see. Hey, we'll see how it happens. We'll talk about it Thursday on the podcast as well. All right,
it's a good game, Pat.
Yeah, that's exactly. If it's as good, other than that one NFL game, the Seahawks and Niners, every NFL game has been unbelievable.
Yeah, they've been good, Pat.
You can't turn them off.
Yeah,
it's been great. All right, finally, number 3 on Yes, Nowhere, maybe with Robbie Andrew, when this season is over, you're really going to miss Thomas Houck.
I will, Pat. I love the way that kid plays. Even before the news came out last year that he had grown up a Tebow fan, I was saying that he reminded me of Tebow, the way he plays with such energy and passion and love for the game. And, I started calling him Tall Tebow. And now, amongst our little group, everybody calls him Tall Tebow. And I think that's a great compliment, but just shows you what kind of player he is and the way he attacks on the court. And I loved his reaction after the game the other day when he kind of gave it to the Vanderbilt fans. I thought that was cool.
Well, and Mark Byington, the Vanderbilt coach, mentioned this. He goes, nobody plays harder than him in the whole world. He plays so hard, so much energy, so much humility, does whatever he needs to do to make it work. Though he did pronounce his name Hawk, but
not quite right.
But
the thing is, too, Pat, he's a complete player. He's got all the skill in the world, and then to put the way he plays so hard, it just put those all together, and you got a special player, one that I think has a chance to be an All-American.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do this for Patreon this week. I'm going to do my does Thomas Houck get into our top 5 players of all time? Because he's in the running. I will tell you that.
He is.
Because, the trouble is when you're trying to do the number 1 player, you go, well, Horford, no. Joe Kim was the MOP, but it's hard with those guys because they were all great. And that's why they won championships.
But Tall Tebow, Pat, love watching him play.
Tall Tebow. You're going to be heartbroken, I think, when he leaves.
Yeah, I think I will be.
I think so will Todd Golden.
Yeah, he will be too, for sure.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you next week, okay?
Hey, Pat, enjoy the game tonight.
All right. See you, bud. Okay, thanks to Robbie for being on. We always appreciate him being on Mondays, especially when he's in town, or even when he's not in town sometimes. Let's get to our Adams Ribco. Gator of the weekend is brought to you by our good friends at Adams Ribco. It's funny. When I had that chili on Friday night, I said, you know what would go great with this cornbread And I called Adams and said, hey, you guys have cornbread, right? Yeah, of course we do. Yeah. Well, I'm having my wife stop and pick it up on the way home, and it was great. It was perfect for that chili. Perfect. Adams Ribbo, the place to go for all your barbecue needs. Our Adams Ribbo Gator of the weekend, we had a lot of choices, but, I try to vary it a little bit. And here's a guy you probably aren't aware of, Henry Jefferson, who is on the Florida men's tennis team, and he got the winning point because it was a tight match against USF. They played him in the NCAAs last year, and it was a tough match. It was a tough match again, of course, a little bit chilly, but he got the winner that allowed them to win 4-3. By the way, Henry Jefferson is 6'6", so I would not want to play tennis against him because he's coming over from the top like that. Oh, woof, that would be tough to play. But Henry, you know the rule. If you want to go to lunch at Adams Ribco, I am treating because you're our Gator of the weekend. Let's move along to our Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Pick. And appreciate our friend Kyle over at Leonardo's. By the way, our winner last week said he lives far away. He would not be able to get here to enjoy the $25 gift certificate from Leonardo's that he won, Russell Byer. And so he asked me if I would send him a signed Bob Dooley hat, and I'm going to do that instead. But that means we have a $25 gift certificate. So I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and pull one on Monday, a week from today. So we'll go ahead and pull a winner a little bit earlier than normal and get a $25 gift certificate at Leonardo's. And we're going to give you 2 games, 2 chances to qualify. And since you can't get spreads, which I still don't understand, and maybe somebody can explain it to me, but you can't get spreads on Monday for Tuesday games. You can get spreads right now on Florida LSU football next year, but you can't get it on Florida LSU basketball tomorrow. Anyway, so I'm not going to worry about that. Here's the 2 games that just pick a winner. Georgia at Missouri, which I think is a very interesting game. That's Tuesday night. Texas at Kentucky, that's Wednesday night. I think both are interesting games, so that they're fine as just standalones. If you get them both right, and we had a lot of people get in again last week. If you get them both right, you qualify twice. If you get one right, you can qualify once. And that is our Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Pick. Send it to patrickdooley54@gmail.com. I'm also trying to get an advertiser, so that's your email to patrickdooley54@gmail.com if you're interested in being I need a car dealer. I want a car dealer to become. Not that I need a car, but I want a car dealer. So if anybody's interested, give me a call. You know how to reach me. All right, let's move along. Another of our great advertisers, BMI TeleMed. BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the weekend. I could make it me. I keep dropping pounds, man. I'm so happy that I've gotten down to where I am. I don't know that I want to. I'm not ready to give away my exact weight yet, okay? But I'm going to give it away if I get to a certain level. But you can achieve and maintain with BMI TeleMed, 727-383-1677. Tell them Pat Dooley sent you. You get a discount with your order. It is the way to go. It's worked for me. Our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the weekend is my man, Isaiah Brown. Now, why do I say my man, Isaiah Brown? I've never met the guy. Why would it be my man? Because all year I've been saying, man, if he could just make some shots. The way that guy jumps through the gym and plays hard, I love watching him play. I love it when he's in the game. Like last year, I didn't really like it when he was in the game. But this year, I knew that Todd was counting on him. But it took a while. And Todd said this after the game. It took a while. And in this game, 14 points and 4 rebounds, no turnovers, played 20 minutes. It's like it's almost like a new player has come up for Florida. He is playing and that putback dunk was something that you watched it. You know who he reminds me of it a little bit, but I'm not going to liken him to Scotty Miller. Scotty Lewis. Scotty Miller played for the Bucks. Scotty Lewis, who was here for 2 years and then declared for the NBA. Played one game, I think, with Charlotte. Now he's playing in Canada on their Canadian team. Couldn't shoot a lick. And as a result, as good as an athlete he was, never really could make a big dent for Florida. He scores 7 points a game, mostly on dunks. And that's what I thought Isaiah Brown might be, but now he's starting to make some shots. And look, if he can get to where he is a good shooter, you bring in him and Klavchar off the bench, plus Logden, it's a pretty good team. I mean, you only need to go 8 deep in the NCAA tournament. You only need to go 8 deep, really, in all games. That's all you got. If you got 8, you're in good shape. You got to stay away from foul trouble, though. But anyway, Isaiah Brown is our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the Week. And let's move along to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend. It is brought to you by our good friends at Gallo Car Wash, the only place we go to get our cars cleaned up. Kelsey just got back from a trip to Miami. She went down there and for a birthday party, and I'm sure she's going to be in there today or tomorrow. I've got a rental, so I'm not going to worry about getting the car washed. But anyway, my wife pointed out that it was dirty, and I may need to get it washed. Our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend, this was an easy one, is DJ Lagway, who declares for the portal early, agrees to go to Baylor, then takes 100 visits after that, and then signs with Baylor yesterday, finally. And you're sitting there and you're going, I thought he was already going. There was one point where he put out on Twitter, I think it was, that, hey, I don't know where all these rumors, I'm going somewhere else. I'm already recruiting players for Baylor. And then visited, like, Tennessee, I think, after that. Tennessee ended up getting a quarterback. They're still hoping to get Aguilar back. His case is pending. And they signed the kid from Colorado, who I'm not not a big fan of his, but I'm not worried about him. Aguilar's a good player, though. So if you're a Florida fan, you hope he doesn't get his eligibility. But hey, I have nothing against Joey Aguilar. Anyway, where was I? So DJ Lagway managed to milk it out, and that at the end of the day, like I did this thing for patreon.com/Dooley Noted. I write 5 things twice a week, in addition to grading the Gators, in addition to the back 9, all that. You can subscribe on Patreon. It's only $5 a month. But I did the thing this week on the 5 transfer players that I hated to see go, and 2 of them were not DJ Lagway and Hayden Hansen. Hayden Hansen, I thought, regressed in his last year at Florida, dropped some passes, couldn't block. So I'm no big loss. I mean, I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a great player. DJ Lagway, I think is a good player, not a great player. We watched him play, okay? Now, I think his offensive coordinator was part of the problem, and I hope he does great at Baylor. I wanted him to go somewhere where he wouldn't be competing against the Gators, so that's good. They actually open up with Auburn, so that'll be fun to watch. I think that's a Sunday night game or maybe a Saturday night game, but anyway, that'll be interesting. All right, so DJ, you won another award, Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend. Let us move along to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Hesser and Kipke, with over 50 years of combined legal experience in North and Central Florida, Hesser and Kipke is your place for bankruptcy, workers' compensation, and family law. Call or text Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920, Hesser and Kipke. Okay, so our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Number 1 is that we do know when the spring game is going to be. I think we probably suspected when it was going to be. It's going to be April 11th. April 11th, of course, is the Saturday of the Masters. They always do that to me. And I will be there, though. You get home in time to watch most of the Masters anyway. So they actually are going to start, March 3rd is going to be the first practice. They're going to practice 3 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I think it is. So we got all that out, but there is a tradition unlike any other, and that is that Saturday of the Masters, they played the spring game. I remember one year they didn't, and I was so happy. I think it was maybe a McElwain year. Anyway, but you know that. I mean, April 11th, so you can get your tailgating ready for April 11th. Let's go to number 2 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. And that is that the Australian Open has begun. All of us caught up in football. And I don't agree with what Paul Feinbaum said, though. He said that the Indiana is going to be a cute story if they win, but everybody's caught up in the NFL. Yeah, they are. They would be caught up in the NFL no matter who was playing. The NFL is the king for a reason. The NFL dominates this time of year. This is why the college football, it's not an Indiana problem. It's a college football problem. They need to move it up. Get it out of the way before we get to this point. Figure it out. Quit. Mommy and Daddy need to stop arguing and get this thing figured out. Anyway. Ben Shelton is playing tonight at 9:30. According to sources close to me, 9:30 Ben Shelton's playing. If you want to watch him, he is a number 8 seed. So excited to watch him. Again, he's all we got on tennis. I'm not a big tennis guy anymore. I used to be a huge tennis guy, but I'm not that into it. But if Ben Shelton's playing, I'm watching him. Finally, number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. The PGA Tour kicked off, and again, not a great time to be kicking off because I did watch a little bit because it was so late, 7 to 10. I did watch a little bit of Saturday. The basketball game wasn't very good. The NFL game got to be a blowout, so I did watch a little bit of Saturday. But Chris Gator won, and the guy's playing great. I think he's 3 wins in the last, 3 or 4 5 months, whatever. I think I started with the Scottish Open was the first one. But anyway, watching him play, I mean, this is a guy with a nice keg and, he is doesn't look like the great athlete, but that's fine. Hey, it's golf, man. It's not running a race. But he wins the Sony. And so they've started golf, and I'm excited about it. That's a great thing to have on one of the TVs this time of year. I'm fired up about golf being back. I'm fired up about everything being back. Golf, baseball's very soon. Like I said, we're going to have Sully on next week. Softballs. I'm fired up about softball. Gymnastics getting going strong. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, speaking of sports, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let us get to our Learner Law Club Team of the Weekend. It is brought to you by our friends at Learner Law. It is the place to go for anything you need for closings, and they do a great job. Learner Law. Let us get to our club team of the weekend, and it is the Florida hockey team. Now, I'm aware of the hockey team. I've actually had conversations with people who play on the hockey team, and they posted their team picture the other day, which was cool. And it's really amazing when you see it and you go, it's a Florida hockey team. But they've been very good over the years. They got to the final of the Savannah Cup. They lost in the finals, but made the finals of the Savannah Cup this week. And that's why they're our Learner Law club team of the weekend. We appreciate Learner Law for being a sponsor of that. Speaking of which, let's go to Mark Gaida presenting the 12. Mark Gaida from Pepin Realty does a great job of selling you homes, and Mark is a good dude, man. You need to call him if you're looking for a house. And the 12 today, brought to you by Pepin Realty, is going to be the 12 teams at the top of the net. So we're going to give you the 12, and you'll notice something when I'm done with it. Number 1's Michigan. They're playing. I mean, Dusty May's doing a great job there. Duke is number 2. Arizona 3. I still think Arizona's the best team in the country. But right now, if you just look at the top 4, if that was your Final 4, you would sign up for it unless you were rooting for the Gators, of course. Gonzaga is number 4. Purdue is number 5. And this is according to net ranking, which is used, obviously. Nebraska, which is undefeated, unbelievable story there, number 6. That's Fred Hoiberg, right? I think so. 7 is Illinois in the system. Every time I say Illinois, all I can think of is Ron Zook's introductory press conference when he called it Illinois over and over again. So we used to say Illinois is in the system. 8 is UConn. They've had some rough games. They're too good to be having some of these rough games. But 9 is Iowa State, which lost twice last week. 10 is Houston. Remember them. I watched their game against Arizona State last night thinking, all right, this will be something on the second TV. And I put it on, and as I'm glancing through, and I see Arizona State's counted out 3 of their best players are not going to play. And I go, oh, this probably, well, maybe they'll. No. It was just disgusting to watch. It was terrible. And then 11, BYU, and 12, Michigan State. What do you notice about that? This is the top 12 in that ranking. No SEC teams. This is where by not winning a lot of those non-conference games, the SEC loses some points. However, Vanderbilt's 13, Florida's 15. It's not like they're out of, a chance of being in the top 10. The key for Florida is right now they would go to Tampa. But again, it's not right now. The tournament doesn't come out. The Leonardo brackets are fun to look at, but they would go to Tampa. And we talked to Chris Harry about that last week, about how important it was for them to get it in the top 4 seeds. Then you go to Tampa, crowds are going to be with you, and we'll see how that goes. All right, that is our Mark Gator presents the 12. Here, let us move along to our Swamp games of the week. And boy, if you weren't at the Swamp this week, and you missed out because John Summerall was there. He was at the Swamp and signing autographs for everybody that wanted him. He was just there to watch some football and had a great time, and we appreciate the Swamp. It is the place to go to watch all the big games. Tonight, obviously, the game. Now, I'll give you some inside info. Not really inside, but the kickoff will be at 7:50. It says the game starts at 7:30. You know better than that. Kickoff will be at 7:50. That's when I'll turn it on. I don't really want to hear anything about either one of these teams. I've heard plenty. I've watched all the games. I don't need any more information. I just want... Now, if you're a Miami fan or an Indiana fan, you're going to watch probably every minute of it. I'm just not big on pregame shows as a rule. But I'm going to... 7:50, I'll turn it on. All right. And by the way, it's 7.5 is the spread. Indiana by 7.5. Also, the Australian Open I mentioned, it's on pretty much every night from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. So if you want to watch it on ESPN2, that's where they're going to be. They're going to show some highlight shows as well, but if you're going to watch it live, that's when you watch it all week. So enjoy that if you're into tennis. Tuesday, LSU at Florida. That game is at 7 o'clock, of course. It is on ESPN2. Also that night, FSU at Miami. Now, normally I would say, FSU had another one of those losses. It's so funny. It's not funny. It is kind of funny, but it's not funny. They show the stands of the students after the guy hits the shot and wins the game, and then FSU can't get a shot off. Anyway, they lose the game. They were leading the whole way. And they showed the stands, and this one girl has got her phone out. I guess she was hoping to take a picture of them didn't win the basket. She just went. Yeah, I'm like, oh, come on, man. You shouldn't be doing that. You had an active shooter just not that long ago on your campus. So, but I know that's a lot of people do that. Just, end it now. But boy, it's been rough for them. Football and basketball, bad combination this year. Anyway, they're playing at Miami, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Miami's playing on the U. Funny. Also that night, you have Vandy at Arkansas as a 9 o'clock game on ESPN, which means you won't be able to watch it for a while. I still don't understand that mentality. Start the early game at 6:45. And then you don't have to... Oh, we're showing it on the app, or we're showing it on ESPN News, which a lot of people don't even get. Anyway, they seem to be successful. And Georgia at Missouri, that's a good game too, at 9 o'clock on the SEC network. Auburn at Ole Miss, 9 o'clock on the U. On Wednesday, you have Texas, Kentucky, which we mentioned earlier, at Kentucky, 7 o'clock on the SEC network. Mississippi State at A&M, 9 o'clock on the SEC Network, so you won't be able to watch the beginning of that. And then Cincinnati at Arizona, big game. Cincinnati just stormed the court, so I'll be watching that. 9 o'clock on FS1. A lot of basketball this week. Kind of makes me long for the days of football when you'd have a action game on Tuesday and Wednesday, and at least it would be something to watch. But now it's all basketball, but that's fine. I've been getting into it. That's going to do it. That's going to do it for our show. We appreciate Coach Spurrier. We appreciate Robbie Andrew. Don't forget on Thursday, Connor O'Gara is going to join us, and we'll have a lot of fun with him. Zach, as always, does a great job manning the studio and solving all my problems, like when I don't tell him what the play of the week is until after we've already started the show. He did a good job of moving it around. All right. We'll be back with another show on Thursday, with Connor O'Gara. Until then, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back, and I am out of here.